The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTR-TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside, off of the back straightaway. 26 and Hallway trying to go 3 wide. No one's with him.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's gonna dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it?
Walker Thomas. Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
I grew up in Northern California. My parents were just really big race fans and took my sister and I to, sprint car races pretty much every Friday and Saturday night. So I did outlaw kart racing from 7 till I was 14. And then that's when I got into 360 and 410 wing sprint cars.
Welcome, race fans, back to PTR TV on LSRTV. It is a very important night here for the Twitchy Race Report's ASRS Premier Cup Series. It's championship night here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. It is the Championship 200 presented by AXeD here at Homestead. 4 drivers that have remained in the playoff run have gotten themselves in playoff contention, in championship contention. They have 134 laps to navigate around Homestead Miami Speedway, and the top finishing driver of those 4 will be crowned Premier Series champion. Giving you the calls tonight is myself, Corey Silva. We got Evan Black here, Joe Chris helping us out behind the scenes, and well, Evan, just as every other big tier series has, we are ending up here at Homestead, a 16 race championship down here to the 1.5 mile proper oval shaped track here in Florida. What kind of racing are we going to expect here, especially with the championship on the line here at Homestead?
Well, Homestead, even if it's not a championship race, it's a really fun race to watch. It's got a lot of multi-groove racing. You can run in pretty much any line out there, from the white line all the way up to the wall. You can run, so that's going to make for some very exciting racing here as we try and decide the champion.
Yep, so those drivers that you will see on the ticker: Scott Eckrich, Jeff Ward, Jared Mogart, and Brian Yazik. You will see the little trophy icon next to them in various graphics to help you denote where they are running, and we'll do our best to follow that side story as the race progresses. But it's not just a championship race, it is a race nonetheless, and there are upwards of about nearly 30 drivers here tonight, Evan, all of which want the victory in the race, but of course they have to know about the bigger picture that's going on.
Yeah, if you're one of those 25 or 26 other drivers out there, you definitely want to win the race, and it's okay to still go up there and race for the win and try and get it, but you really do not want to wreck one of those 4 drivers going for this championship.
And as you can see here on the ticker right now, Scott Eckrich doing what he needs to do, up by 1/2 tenth. He will be the pole sitter here tonight over Jeff Ward. And then we have Brian Yazik all the way in 6th spot. Well, all the way, not too far back, in 6th spot, but that's by 0.3 of a second that he is behind. And, well, Evan, I'm trying to find Jared Mogard right now.
He is not qualified, so it looks like he'll start back around the 25th position, so he's going to have a lot of ground to make up here.
I mean, it is a 200-mile race, and, well, depending on the green flag depending the green flag flow of this race, we could see some pit strategy and definitely a lot of tire wear here at Homestead. So that could definitely alter things up and give Mogard the opportunity to get through the field here tonight. But these guys have completed the session and they are going to get themselves lined up on the grid. So let's bring it to you, the PTR TV on LSRTV Championship starting lineup here tonight at Homestead for the Twitchy Race Reports Premier Cup Series. That was a mouthful. On the pole tonight was Scott Eckrich with a lap time of 30.548 seconds, and his championship competitor of Jeff Ward on the outside of the front row, about half a tenth off the pace of Eckrich. Woody Mahan in third, Alex Giese in fourth, and then Jordan Ashland in fifth, Brian Yazek going for the title in sixth, and then we have Michael Krobik and Andy Veltman seventh and eighth.
And rolling off in the 9th position, we have the number 58 of Josh Walker. To his outside in 10th, we will have the number 11 of Tyler Seville. 21, Scott Smith starting in 11th. 01 of Brandon Stokes in 12th. And then Jared Mogard, David Hudson, Troy Haight, and Richard Stallings in 16th.
And then Jordan Harnish in 17th, and Jim Foose, I finally got your car to show up, in 18th position. Tim Knott in 19th, and Steve Buhala in 20th. Jack Wells in 21st, Jared Mogard, the fourth and final championship competitor in 22nd, and then Zach Nichols and Mitch Brown, 23rd and 24th.
And rest of the field, we have Jason Stewart in 25th, John Kennedy 26th, Lee Staples in 27th, Richard Fletcher 28th, Zach Nichols in 29th, and Matt Kemp in 30th.
All right, and that is your fields here tonight. And obviously I've had a lot of black bandits on the streams here recently, and I was able to solve the problem with a whole bunch of diagnosis. So all the cars showing up here tonight, including Jeff Ward, remember going for the championship in his number 90 Bose Camaro for Loud Pedal Motorsports. So again, it's going to be an exciting night of racing here in Miami. Remember the multi-groove track, the dynamic banking, 18, 19, and 20. So you'll see guys all over this mile and a half in Homestead very quickly. The weather conditions tonight about 78 in the air, 86 on the track. So should be a whole bunch of grip for these guys to use, and they're going to need every last bit of it. It's PTR TV on LSR TV. Corey Silva and Evan Black giving you the calls here tonight for championship night by AXeD Media here tonight. Who is going to bring home the title? Who's going to bring home the race? Let's find out together. Pace car will take the hard left into the Homestead Miami pit lane. We'll wait for Eckrich to get on the loud pedal, and there it is. We're racing for a championship.
And Eckrich got a really good jump there over Jeff Ward, who was in the battle for second, right now with Woody Mahan trying to take a look to his inside. Not able to get there yet underneath that 90 car, as Jeff Ward is now starting to pull away. And Jeff Ward in qualifying, he was 2/10 quicker than with third place Woody Mahan, so I wonder if these top two will be able to pull away here early.
Yeah, but one thing we need to remember here at Homestead is that a hot lap is not the most important situation. All you need that long run speed. You're going to have to save those tires a lot of ways that a race can progress here at Homestead. So don't take those qualifying times too seriously yet, as lap one is completed. And you can already see some different lines going on. Your leader's running in the middle groove, and then we go back to, who is that? That's the number 27 Jordan Ashland, already running up top, Evan, trying to get up top of Michael Krobik in the 72.
Yeah, these guys further back, they have to go up to that top to really open up the track where they can try and get by everyone, because if they're all on the bottom, you can't pass them if you're still just going to stay on the bottom with them. You have to go try other lanes, and that's what Ashland and a lot of other guys are doing.
And something that Evan and I, we noticed in our various racing endeavors is that if you go back to the Monster Energy Cup race at Las Vegas, another mile-and-a-half track, you saw in the real world, those guys were making time up on the top of the racetrack, but doing so really hurt their tires. That is something that does carry over here into the simulator. So while that top may work for you and get you some speed, you're really going to have to watch that right front tire.
And that's why I think so far we're seeing pretty much everyone, if they're not making a pass, just running down middle lane or under. No one's really ventured up to that top when they're running by themselves. Actually, I see Jordan Ashland now starting to do that, but most everyone is running middle lane or lower.
So obviously our championship competitors up front, we can see the 70 and the 90 doing what they need to do first and second. And Brian Yazek, who remember he started in the 7th 6th position, so he has picked one spot off to get into 5th. He is trying to close in on Alex Gysi. He does have Gysi and Mahan separating him from those two championship drivers in front of him. And remember, Jared Mogard starting all the way back in the 20s. He has gotten up to 17th spot. Look at that gaggle of cars. He's running up in the Larson groove. They're going 3 wide above the 44, trying to get above Jim Foose here.
And Mogard does have a little bit of damage on the right front of that 00 machine. I think he got the safer barrier entering turn 3 a few laps ago, and I wonder if that's going to hurt him very much here, but it looks like he's still pretty quick as he's trying to get by that 44 and 42.
Yeah, something that I know here from Homestead is more so in 3. You can see it there even in 1. That safer barrier, when the concrete wall on the straightaways turns into the safer barrier in the corners, it does stick out a little bit. So if you're running really high, it is very easy to make contact with that. As look at Mogard trying to take to the outside of Jim Foose. Not able to happen, but he does still have the 44, and we're wrecking. Lee Staples in the 12, and that's Steve Buhala in the 43. Buhala with race-ending contact already as we are under the first caution on lap number 7.
Looks like that started with the 43 Buhala just getting a bit loose out of turn 2.
Yeah, we'll see here go on board with Steve in that number 43 machine. See, he's exiting corner number 2 in the middle groove. There is a bump right there. I wonder if he did hit it. He got loose and just kind of corrected up the track, and then Lee Staples, just a innocent bystander there. 2 cars taken out, and Buhala will take it immediately behind the wall. Lee Staples will... Actually, Lee Staples doesn't look too bad off. He may be able to get some repairs done in the pits, but you can see here these drivers are already headed down to pit road. Andy Veltman in his typical style will stay out to lead a lap, but one thing again worth noting, Evan, is the pit road here at Homestead. You must run those access roads on both ends of the speedway here.
So that's very different than most tracks, especially under green. That's where you notice the most, having to start braking down the backstretch, where usually you don't start braking till the center of 3 and 4 to get on the pit road. But see, if we do end up having green flag pit stops, that could play into things a little bit.
Yeah, because those, we can definitely say when you're trying to get down to speed on old tires and running that really narrow road, flat road down there, well, I've seen a lot of drivers have issue with that, but we'll have to see if that does occur. But coming out of pit road, 70 and 90 will stay in their predetermined order, but it does look like Veltman and Staples, Veltman, Jack Wells, and Lee Staples all 1, 2, 3 on the speedway right now. Expect to see
Veltman's coming down, but is that Wells staying out?
Yeah, that's the commitment cone. Oh, yeah, the commitment cone right there. You have to make the access road. All 3 of them have. I do believe that race control will let you sneak out of pit road. We might see that later on in the race. I do believe you do have the ability to sneak out of pit road right here, get back on the track, and kind of play a fake card if you'd like to. But with tire wear being as vital as it is here at Homestead, I really don't see that happening.
Yeah, even after 1 lap, you can notice how worse the car is handling and speed-wise. It just, the tires in these cars do not last very long here, which can make for some very exciting racing.
And now in an affiliated league that is kind of under the big sanction that ASRS is soon to be under, Evan, I think you kind of learned how tire wear works here, and that someone may be a little bit better than you at saving the tires here on this track.
We don't have to talk about that.
Oh, I gotta love it. But we are getting doubled up for the first restart of the evening here at Homestead, Miami. And, well, nothing's changed up front. We still have the 70 and the 90 inside and outside respectively. And then we have Woody Mahan and Alex Gysi, Brian Yazik in 5th. And then Jared Mogard, our other championship driver, back in 23rd. I wonder if he got some of that damage repair to get back to full strength, but in the process lost some time on pit road. We'll find out together. And again, through 3 and 4, the pace car will pull off on the front straightaway, and we'll get this race back underway relatively shortly. We'll see what kind of jump, who gets the better jump here on the restart. Pace car is in. Green flag in the air. Looks like they went on a green flag for that start, but the 90 award, some serious wheel spin, got it under control, lost some time. Woody Mahan may be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Woody Mahan was underneath him down entering turn 1, but it looks like Ward has cleared once again as Brian Yazek gets by that 77 of DC and slots into the 4th position. So now we'll see if, actually that's Michael Krobik, very similar paint schemes on Krobik and Yazek.
Yeah, remember that is a team, those are team drivers, those HPP simulation machines, so I'd have to imagine if it does come down to it where Yazek may need a little bit of help, we'll see if that 72 is able to provide any of it in some facet or another, as Yazek will complete the pass on Giese and get back into the top 5. So now it's just Krobik and Mahan still that are the separators in between your leaders, but some racing going on back in the pack as these guys are still trying to divvy themselves out. Tyler Seville in the 11 and Brandon Stokes in the 01. We've seen a lot of good things out of Brandon Stokes in his early tenure in ASRS. Driver to watch out for. He's trying to get into the top 10. But now Tyler Seville is to the inside. Jordan Harsh to the outside. I do believe Seville may be stuck to the inside groove.
Actually, Seville, he's making that bottom lane work. He's pulling back underneath that 01 of Stokes. We'll see if Stokes can get the run down the backstretch. Looks like he is going to get a bit of a better run and will allow him to clear down into 3 and 4. Stokes running really high through 3 and 4 here. Seville pulling back to his inside, but I think Stokes will get the run out of 4 and should be able to clear again. Actually, that 11 of Seville is doing a pretty nice job down on that bottom.
Yeah, it's going to hurt him on corner exit. He's not going to be able to exit the corners and get that momentum built up because he's going to have to really pull the car to the inside. But you can see they're almost 2-3 wide here ahead. We have Josh Walker, Brandon Stokes, whole bunch of drivers all over jostling for positions. But one thing I did want to bring up, Evan, is that we were on the lines of talking about what kind of groove these guys are running. You could see Stokes running that top groove, but Homestead, it looks on paper like a perfect oval. But you'd think both turns drive symmetrically, drive the same, but both sides of this speedway drive completely different.
Yeah, they definitely do drive different. I don't think they drive as different as what I've heard you talk about, because I know in the last time we raced here, you were really talking about that. I didn't find too much of a difference in the corners. There is a little bit for sure, though. 3 and 4, you definitely have to take it a little bit slower.
Yeah, well, you can't quite get that top groove. Brian Yazek nearly in the fence there off of corner number 4. Has to keep that thing under control. A lot of time left that he has to get through to keep himself in good position. But you can't really run that Larson line that you see the 27 of Ashland running. You can't really run it in 3 and 4. Kind of a different approach to roll that corner. We'll follow Ashland and see if he proves me correct or incorrect. You can see he's running that middle groove. Krobik just ahead, running up top, but
I think Krobik was just trying to let Yazek go by there.
Yep, so Krobik maybe doing that, and now he may have opened the door for Giese in the 77. Giese will try to run the middle groove, which is only 19 degrees of banking, where Ashland's running up top. That's 20 degrees. That's why you can really get that momentum wound up, and we'll see if Ashland's able to use it down the back straightaway. Not quite this lap.
Entering turn 3 now, we'll see if Ashland can make a move underneath that 77 of Giese. He's getting a good run through the center of the corner, not able to keep it on corner exit, as it looks like Ashland might have got a little bit loose there. Down entering turn 1, gap still about at 1 car length as they're battling for the 6th position. And once again, Ashland running really high through 1 and 2. I think he's running the highest of anyone we have seen. And we're going to have to watch and see if that really hurts his tires or not.
Yeah, there's, as we said, there's speed up there. It's not a matter of speed. It's a matter of, is that burning off his right front tire? That's what we're going to have to figure out. He's not gaining as much time. It does seem like the middle is working for now. We'll have to see how the dynamic track progresses and if that middle does start to go away. But focusing quickly back on your championship duo up front, Eckrich is still running about 0.4 of a second faster. We'll pull up the graphic here and see who is indeed the fastest of the top 10. You can see a 45 to a 46, basically even up front. Yazek slower at a 57, so Yazek does have some time. And obviously Jared Mogard not on this graphic as he is currently in 14th spot, so the highest he's been running today. His lap time's not very indicative with that heavy traffic he's in.
Right now it's looking like this race is going to go, this race and the championship is going to go to the 70 or the 90, but we've seen a lot of strange things happen, so don't start engraving the trophies yet.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of dates about years back, we covered on PTR TV, we did cover the season finale of the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, and I remember that race pretty well, where driver Devin Serra, who does, he's going for that truck championship, he dominated the race, but I'm pretty sure it either turned down to fuel mileage or pit strategy, and the driver who we thought was going to win the race in the championship did not win it. So again, that is always a situation, as we do have a car. That's Woody Mahan in the grass down the back straightaway. He's off the track. I don't know if a caution's going to come out for that, but he is heading back in the right direction.
He was running in third, and just out of two, it just snapped around on him.
Yeah, second drive. Remember, Steve Buhala had issues off corner number 2. Like I said, there is a bump there. If you hit it the right way, it will definitely throw the car off, as we are on instant replay. And actually, very similar to Buhala, but with a lot more erratic results. Hard into the gap on the inside back straightaway wall.
So the corner, he put some counter steer in it to keep it from spinning out to the left, and it just snapped around on him.
So one person that did not complain about that is Brian Yazik, because, well, it's a free spot. So 1, 2, 3 is championship drivers right now, but Yazik, unfortunately for him, 2.8 seconds off the off of the leader, and running about 0.2 a lap slower. But again, we're 14 laps into the run. There's a lot to figure out in terms of tire fall off, who has the long run speed, who is going to drop off more. But if what we've seen all season is indicative, I mean, these two up front have been the dominators in the Cup car, so it's going to be a matter of, can Eckrich hold this pace? Can Ward maybe show some long run speed, or is it going to come down to strategy? That's what we got to find out.
Speaking of strategy, how long do you think they can go out here, Corey? Probably about 50 laps or so?
Yeah, I mean, if I usually we always throw a complete guess at this, but I'm going to say about 50 to 55 laps is the fuel load, but I really have a hard time believing these guys are going to go more than 30 laps on a run. I really have a hard time believing that, just because of the tire wear being so bad. We are already about 1 1/3 seconds off of our best laps of the day. Leaders just ran a 32 flat. His best lap is a 30.5, and that's only 15 laps in. Let's go another 30 laps in. I'm sure that's going to be closer to 2 seconds off of his pace. And just think 2 seconds a lap. Every lap that someone, if you pit, every lap that somebody else stays out, they're going to lose 2 seconds a lap, and that just adds up to so much track position.
Mogard now up into the top 10.
Whoa, Brandon Stokes with a wiggle in. Even Mogard with a wiggle off of 4.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of guys having wiggles out of all the corners, as Brandon Stokes pretty hard in the wall through the center of 1 and 2. Just got tight on corner entry, and that'll be another spot for Mogard, up to 9th now.
Well, it's the fine line and the fine technique it takes to run that Larson line. And obviously that's why people hit the wall, because it's not easy, as they're 3 wide. The 58, the 44, the 01 Stokes right to the back bumper of the 44 of Harnish, as the 58 of Josh Walker all the way to the inside. Tyler Seville right behind that. Some hard-nosed racing here at the end of the top 10. See, look at all of these different lines in play right now, as Walker and the 58 all the way running that inside groove, trying to hold the best he can. He does get back up to the top. Stokes is running the top as well. Seville is trying to make that inside work. We saw him using it a lot earlier, and Stokes very high in 3 and 4.
Stokes and Harnish both up there above that very top seam, and it looks like it's going to work for them.
Yeah, again, we haven't seen that used in 3 and 4 yet, but at the moment it does seem to be working, at least for Stokes. And look at ahead of that, that was Jordan Harnish. I think he tried to Eldora wall bounce it there, and it may have worked for him, but not a tactic you're going to want to use regularly. That's Stokes now looking again to the top of Seville in the 11. Again, this is the best battle on track up front. Eckrich is pulled up by 2 seconds over Ward. Yazik another nearly 4 seconds off the lead. So this is the best battle on the raceway right now, as Seville again trying to make that middle work. And look at these guys, mere inches off the wall. Seville will clear Walker.
There is speed all the way up there against the wall, but like you said, Corey, it's just such a fine line. It's so easy to just barely overdrive it and tag that wall. And a lot of times you get into that wall, it's hard to get out of it.
Caution.
And caution out now. 42 of Jim Foose.
Yeah, we'll see what happened to Jim. He was racing in a rather large pack of cars. We'll see what the instigator was. See Brad Cross, that's the 117 of Richard Stallings, I believe. Yes, it was. And
looks like, did Cross just get loose in the middle of the backstretch?
It's very seldom that those words are ever used in that order, but it appears to be the case.
Looks like, did he hit a bump or something?
See, we're on board with Jim. See exactly what he saw, and we're going to have to go on board with Brad and try to figure that out, because I really have no idea, to be honest with you. See, he's just chugging along straight, and it broke traction midway down the straightaway. So that is the second caution of the race, and then these guys have assembled behind the iRacing pace car yet again, and just look at how long it's going to take for the remainder of the field to catch up to the pace car. The gap that they had on pit road as pit stops have completed, but they just had such a big gap on the field that Eckrich is just in a zone by himself. Actually, I'm confused right now. Was pit road open last time?
Pit road was open.
Did Eckrich make a rather large mistake there as we were on replay?
It looks like he did. I think the pace car didn't catch up to him until he entered turn 3. So he had no opportunity to get down the pit road there.
Now I'm going to try, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to succeed. You are right, Evan. We're all the way back on replay. Eckrich is right now on the back straightaway, and the pace car is behind him right now. And now the pace car, as it wall hops through him. Yeah, he caught the pace car and wanted. Now Ward was behind him too, so this is going to throw both of them well back there in the field right now. Well,
because Jeff Ward, he just turned on the pit road without using the access road.
So that's
going to give him an EOL penalty.
Now, that they could, and this is just something that it just doesn't happen very often. They could have come on the access road as long as the pace car passed them. They could have driven on the access road and just not passed the pace car, and it would have been fine. I think it was just kind of a nerve thing. I mean, they were just so worried about not having the pace car have already caught them that they just wanted to make sure they were behind it, and then in turn made them miss the access road. So that's just a very awkward scenario, but it will give Brian Yazik the lead. Jordan Ashland in second, Michael Krobik in third, Jared Mogart, highest spot. He's been in all night. Fourth, David Hudson in fifth. It will bring Eckrich back to the 19th spot. It will bring Jeff Ward back to the 22nd spot. Apologies, folks, that we kind of were. I was on replay, and then as all that happened, we were trying to backtrack our steps and figure that out. But I think we did. We did figure it out, and a complete championship shakeup. Brian Yazik doesn't quite have the speed, but he has the track position, and we'll see what he can do with this newfound lead.
Also, we'll get to see what Jared Mogart can do. He's going to be up there on 4th, so this will be the cleanest air he's had and the least amount of cars in front of him, so we'll see if he has anything for these guys up here.
Yeah, Mogart is a fast driver, but again, as you said, he's been mired all race. He has that damage fixed, so let's see if he can make that 00. See what it can do. What kind of lap times is he capable of running of it? Get us underway this time.
Coming through 3 and 4 here as the pace car gets ready to pull down on the pit road. Waiting for it, and there it goes. Now waiting for Yazek to get us back underway, and there he goes. We're back underway here at Homestead, and he's getting a really good jump over the 27 of Ashland.
See a lot of swerving and kind of jostling around there. I think a little bit of wheel spin throughout the field, but Yazek up to speed rather smoothly, and him and his teammate will clear for first and second. Maybe not clear because Ashland has that momentum built up on the outside of the racetrack using that upper groove, and I think that 27 is going to clear for a second. Yes, indeed, he will.
Battle going on for the fourth position right now. Jared Mogard and David Hudson. Mogard up there in that higher lane, running right on that top seam. It's not really going to work for him. It doesn't look like. Pretty even down the front stretch. Going down into turn one now. We'll see, can Mogard make that high lane work? And right now he's cleared him. Will that 75 be able to fight back on the bottom? Does not look like he'll be able to.
Yeah, that inside groove, as we said, it's really hard to make that line work. It's just so much less banking. Hard to keep these cars loaded up in the corners. So again, up front, Brian Yazek now is up by about half a second over these guys. So he is taking advantage of the situation that he is in. And these guys, remember the two drivers that had their issues, Jeff Ward now in 19th, Scott Eckrich up to 15th. These guys are getting themselves back through the field.
Eckrich trying to get by a couple drivers here now, trying to get up to 13th, pulling underneath the 41 of Tim Knott, down into turn 3. Gonna see if you can make that inside lane work, and it's gonna make it work at least for a little bit. Gonna have a slight advantage down the front stretch. Gonna try and clear him down into turn 1. He will clear him now. So Eckrich now to 14th, and gonna try and get by Troy Haight.
Yeah, Troy Haight in the 28, and right ahead of him is the number 7 machine. That is of Jason Stewart. So again, we'll see how these drivers are able to navigate and how much of a hassle they do give the 70 machine.
Eckrich now up to 13th. And he's passing everyone he's passed. It looks like he's been down on the bottom, so I wonder if just being down there, if that's going to help his tires out here on this long run.
Yeah, the more you have to run that inside groove, the longer it is going to take to get that momentum wound up. But then ultimately you're not going to have that on corner exit, and it will really hinder your abilities. So something to watch out for indeed.
We'll have to see if it does end up helping his tires. See, he's now already up to 11th. Ward and now up to 13th, getting by the 28 and the 7. Jeff Ward trying to follow Eckrich up through here. Back up front. Looks like Brian Yazek is still leading over Jordan Ashland by just about a half second. Jared Mogard's still back there in 4th. Yeah, it's not working for me either. The whole site won't work. Yep, YouTube's down. Even on my phone, it says error loading. Yep.
Folks, if you are able to watch this, which I don't think anybody is right now, YouTube is down right now. I don't know if this is streaming, I don't know if this is recording, so that is why we are silent right now till I can figure something out, or we can figure something out with YouTube. So stream is up, and we will go silent as we try to figure out what's going on. Well, after a very awkward scenario with YouTube, which I don't think I can ever say in my broadcasting career that YouTube went down, so in all honesty, I don't know if anybody was watching the last 20 minutes. If you were, I apologize for the silence, because we had errors on all sides and YouTube went down for about a half hour, but I at least have confirmation that this is live right now. So, well, what has happened in the last half hour? Well, 20 minutes, however long it's been. Brian Yazik, he took the lead off of the restart, and he pulled away, and so far has been able to hold the lead. Scott Eckrich, remember Eckrich and Ward had issues with their pit stops, and just catching the pace car at awkward points, having to pit at the end and drop to the end of the field. Well, Eckrich is up to second. He's 2.1 seconds back. Jared Mogard is in third now. He is going to have Jeff Ward right on his tail in fourth. So championship drivers 1, 2, 3, and 4 now, which, Evan, I mean, that's typically what you expect in these races, as you expect these guys, they're going for the title, to be right up front.
It looks like Scott Eckrich, he is running about a half a tenth quicker than Brian Yazik, in 2.1 second gap, now down to 2 seconds actually, so Eckrich is starting to close him in, but 30 laps into this run, and I know you said before we had those YouTube issues, you thought they'd go about 30 laps.
Yeah, so let's just kind of extrapolate this out a little bit. We have the better part of about 70 laps to go, 73. So if they run this maybe another 20 laps, then that's about 53. So maybe if they did stretch it, it's a one-stop race, but I would not be surprised to see some drivers put it on pit road and take a two-stop race. We have a car in the grass down the front straightaway. That's Jared Haggerty in the 6. Try to quickly find out what happened to Jared.
He was running in 8th. Just got a bit free out of 4, and actually,
yeah, he got loose and just kind of eventually just washed into the fence and kind of did some off-road excursioning and just does carry on. And we have pit stops. Jeff Ward rated about 32 laps. See here, I'll pull up the graphic very quickly. You see we're about 33 laps into this run. Jeff Ward will draw first blood on pit road, and what is he doing?
He's got a lot of front end damage on that car. Is he just calling it quits?
What did we miss?
Oh, out of turn 2.
That's what we missed.
He spun around and got a lot of front end damage on that car.
What a weird night. He hit the bump off of 2, I believe, and not able to hold on to it. And, well, I thought that was a scheduled green flag stop, but most certainly not. So now we're down one chaser, one playoff driver. Yazik still holding the lead by about 1 3/4 seconds, a little bit less than that. About 34 laps into this run. And I mean, Evan, I hate quoting real-world things, you know, real-world commentators, because we always get flack for that, but just wrapping up this whole night in general, have you ever?
No, I've never. This has been weird.
I mean, but here comes Yazik, and I don't see any damage on his car, so this would presumptuously, that's a word, right? Presumptuously be a green flag pit stop, having to navigate that.
Presumptively, Corey.
Yeah, that too. Running on that very difficult access road, he'll get it down to, I believe it to be 55 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour here at Homestead. And now remember, with all of that time lost, all of those, all that tire wear and how that slows down the lap times, will Eckrich follow suit, or is he going to play a different strategy? He's at least going to stay out for one additional lap. And how about Jared Mogard? He will again stay out another lap. So do we have a two-stop versus one-stop debate on our hands?
That's what it seems like it's going to be. And I wonder if he saw Jeff Ward come down pit road and thought that was a scheduled stop for Ward and didn't want to lose touch with him.
That's very possible, because it was behind Yazik. He just saw a car pull down pit road. Maybe he didn't see the smoke. He just saw on his telemetry that Ward was on pit road. But now Yazik will get onto the speedway. That's Jared Mogard. So Yazik does have a little bit of work to do to get back onto the lead lap. As this is, as I find out from our behind-the-scenes man of Joe Chris, that this is halfway. And AXeD doing a little Tokyo Drift competition of quarter number 4 there kind of got my attention, but he is
and he was still a half-second quacker. A half-second quicker than Jared Mogard.
I gotta tag that for the blooper reel, Evan. You don't have any, I don't think you have anything in our blooper reel. Well, now you do. Make sure I remember that. Lap number 68 at Homestead, Evan Black. But again, still waiting for these guys to come down pit road. And again, Brian Yazik, where is he on circuit in relation? He is entering corner number 1. AXeD is exiting corner number 2. So Yazik's most important task right now is going to be to get back on the lead lap. He is the free pass car at the moment. Well, he was. Now Richard Fletcher has it until Yazik's able to pass him. But if a caution does come out, he would rather be on the lead lap than have to pit as the lucky dog car, because you will lose more track position doing so.
So it looks like AXeD's last lap was a 32.831. Yazik's, it looks like, was a 31.0. So that is a lot of time going the way of Brian Yazik, almost 2 seconds.
And remember, Yazik if he is going to do this on a 2-stopper, he needs to gain as much time as possible. Presumably, we will see AXeD and company in maybe around lap 89, 90, somewhere in that ball game. So he's going to need to gain, I mean, he's going to need to get within, I would say, 5 seconds of the back bumper of AXeD for this to work. And I thought it would, but I'm really starting to get nervous on this. Let's see now. This is Yazik getting himself back onto the lead lap. And how much time can he gain? How much time can he get back, rather, before the 70 hits the pits?
I don't know if it'll be enough, because it seems like AXeD is kind of flatlined here at the 32.87. He's not slowing up anymore. He's been really consistent around that lap time number, so if he can keep that up for another 20 laps or so, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, so it's about 1.5 seconds, maybe a little bit more every lap that Yazik is getting. So do 1.5 times about another 15, and I mean, that's about 20 seconds or so right there. We're doing some very rough mathematics. So that's about 2/3 of a lap. And then remember, Yazik's going to have to pit again for this strategy to work. So at first glance, I was all for it, but I'm getting a little timid on that now.
So when do you think AXeD is going to end up coming down pit road? Probably another 10 laps or so?
I'm going to say between 85 and 90, I would say. That would give him about 40 to 45 laps or so to wrap this race up. We're at about 44 laps right now, so they are going to be in uncharted territory running these last 10 laps of the run. I think they could probably make it on fuel from here, about 60. It'd be very close, so obviously they want to try to get as much comfort as they can. But do want to give a little shout out to the ASRS sponsors. Want to give a shout out to Twitchy Race Reports. Twitchy Race Reports was responsible and a big partner into bringing the ASRS hashtag Back to Cup series in play this season. This was the first season in I believe it to be 3 years or so that ASRS did run in the Cup Series, a league that dates back to 2002 on the NASCAR 2003 era titles, all the way migrating up to iRacing. And again, I want to give a shout out to them and AXeD Media for helping sponsor tonight's Championship 200. Again, I want to apologize for the YouTube side of things, at least on my personal end. It was working.